On a winter night in Chicago, the temperature drops to 5 degrees below zero, and 2 children are asleep on a pile of trash. They have been there since morning, 14 hours in that skin slicing cold, waiting for someone, anyone, to care about them. Vincent Moretti thinks it is just a few garbage bags stacked behind an abandoned warehouse in an industrial zone. He comes here to inspect one of the organization's facilities, the ordinary work of a mafia boss. But as he gets closer, his heart seems to stop. It is not trash. It is 2 little girls, about 7 years old, curled up and clinging to each other beneath a torn, filthy blanket. Their lips are purple with cold. Their skin is as pale as snow. Vincent has faced guns without blinking. But in this moment, the gun in his hand slips free and drops into the snow. Before he can say a word, one of them lifts her head. Her eyes are full of fear, but what makes Vincent's chest tighten isn't the fear, it is the surrender. As if the child already knows how everything will end. She whispers, "Please don't take us back. We'll be good," the other one adds, her voice catching in her throat. "We promise we'll be good." Vincent stands frozen. He, the man who makes the entire city afraid, suddenly feels like he can't breathe. What have these children lived through that they believe they were thrown away because they weren't good? And then he sees it. On each girl's neck, a small silver medallion, dulled with age. In that moment, Vincent thinks only this. He will take them home, call someone to handle it, then return to his normal life with his son. Life will go on the way it always does. He has no idea that what is inside those medallions will change everything. If this story touched your heart, please hit like to give the channel strength. Share the video with anyone who needs to be reminded that miracles still exist. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next meaningful stories. He slips off the expensive cashmere coat he's wearing and gently wraps it around the 2 shivering children. His hands, the same hands that have squeezed a trigger without a flicker of doubt, are now strangely careful as they touch the small bodies, stiff with cold. Sophia, the one who's a little older, flinches when his hand reaches her shoulder. But as the warmth of the coat begins to spread, she slowly loosens, her eyes still fixed on him with wary caution, yet no longer shrinking away. Olivia is different. She squeezes her eyes shut tight, as if not seeing anything might keep the worst from happening. Quick footsteps pound behind him. Dante Romano, Vincent's right-hand man, rushes up with a gun in his grip, his face taut with alarm. But when he takes in what's in front of him, he stops short. "Boss, what's going on?" Dante asks, his voice edged with disbelief. He has followed Vincent for more than 10 years. Has watched his boss do things ordinary people wouldn't dare to imagine, but he has never seen Vincent kneeling in the snow, his hands trembling as he holds 2 unfamiliar children like this. Vincent doesn't answer right away. He rises, lifting Olivia first because she looks weaker. The child's body is terrifyingly light, lighter even than Lucas was when the boy was only 3 years old. Sophia stands at once, following close, her small hand clutching the edge of Vincent's coat as if she's afraid of being left behind. "Should I call the police, boss?" Dante asks, already pulling out his phone. "No," Vincent says it flatly, his voice low and final. "Bring the car here." Dante hesitates. "But boss, these kids, we don't know who they are, where they came from. What if this drags us into trouble? What if someone's looking for them?" Everything Dante says is reasonable. As a mafia boss, Vincent has hundreds of enemies waiting for the right moment to bring him down. Taking in 2 strange children could be a trap, a scheme, or at the very least, an unnecessary complication. But when Vincent looks down at Olivia in his arms, when he feels that she's stopped shaking and is pressing her face to his chest to find warmth, he knows he can't leave them. "Bring the car here," Vincent repeats, and this time his voice is colder, leaving no room for argument. "I'm taking them home." Dante knows when to stop asking. He nods and runs toward the black SUV parked several dozen meters away. Vincent stands in the heart of the winter night, Olivia in one arm, Sophia's tiny hand held tight in the other. Sophia tilts her head up at him, her eyes shimmering in the dark. "You really won't take us back to that place, will you?" Sophia asks, her voice trembling from the cold and from fear. Vincent looks down at her. In those eyes, he sees something so familiar it hurts. The forced strength of a child who's had to grow up far too soon. "No," Vincent says, and his voice softens in a way that surprises even him. "I'm taking you home with me. Tonight, you're safe." The SUV rolls up slowly. The door swings open, and warmth spills out from inside like a promise. Vincent lifts Olivia into the car first, then turns back and helps Sophia in. When the door closes, sealing them off from the ruthless cold outside, Vincent looks at the two children huddled on the back seat and wonders what he's doing. He is Vincent Moretti, Chicago's infamous Mafia boss. He isn't the kind of man who rescues orphans on a winter night. But as he watches those two small lives drifting back toward sleep from sheer exhaustion, he knows that tonight, he has made a decision that will change his life forever. The SUV glides smoothly along Chicago's snow-covered streets. Dante sits behind the wheel, and every so often he flicks a glance at the rearview mirror, his worry impossible to hide. Vincent is in the passenger seat, but his eyes keep returning to the interior mirror, where the reflection holds the two children in the back. The heat from the vents is slowly melting the frost that clung to them, yet both Sophia and Olivia remain curled in on themselves, as if the cold has sunk all the way into their bones. What catches Vincent's attention is the way Sophia sits. She doesn't lean back against the seat. She angles her body to the side, using herself as a shield between Olivia and the car door. One of her hands is wrapped tightly around her sister's shoulder. The other grips the edge of the coat Vincent draped over them. Even at only 7 years old, Sophia carries the posture of a protector, someone who's used to having to stand between danger and another life. Vincent recognizes it because he once looked the same way. When he was a boy, he had to protect his little sister from their father's blows. He understands that wary stare. He understands the way a body learns to react on instinct, ready to take the hit in place of the person you love. Olivia has drifted off, her head slumped against her sister's shoulder. But Sophia isn't sleeping. Her eyes are wide open, watching everything, the blurred landscape beyond the window, and every smallest movement Vincent and Dante make. She's trying to memorize the route, Vincent realizes. A 7-year-old child already preparing for the worst. "What are your names?" Vincent says at last, working to make his voice as gentle as he can. Sophia flinches at the sound, then quickly steadies herself. "I'm Sophia," she answers, her voice rough from cold and thirst. "And this is my sister, Olivia. We're twins." "Twins." Vincent nods, filing it away. "How old are you?" 7. "Our birthday is in April." Sophia's reply is short, and there's none of the excitement children usually have when they talk about their birthday. Maybe it's been a very long time since anyone celebrated for them. Vincent wants to ask about their parents, about whoever abandoned them in that brutal cold. But when he catches Sophia's eyes in the mirror, he sees the fear slipping back in. She's waiting for those questions, and she's afraid of the answers. "All right," Vincent says, deciding not to push. "You don't have to say anything more right now. Just rest." Sophia looks at him, surprise written plainly across her small face. Maybe she isn't used to adults respecting her silence. "Thank you," Sophia whispers, her voice trembling. "Thank you for not taking us back." Vincent doesn't answer. He only nods and turns his gaze forward again. But inside him, something is catching fire. Someone has hurt these children. Someone has frightened them so badly they believe being thrown away is normal. And Vincent Moretti, even without knowing who that person is, silently vows that he will make him pay. The SUV turns onto the road leading into the estate. In the distance, the lights of Vincent's home appear, warm and safe in the heart of the freezing night. The SUV comes to a stop in front of the mansion gates. The tall iron gate slides open automatically, revealing a stone-paved drive that leads to a grand, magnificent 3-story house. Warm yellow light pours from the windows, a soft glow that stands in stark contrast to the brutal cold and darkness outside. Sophia's eyes widen as she stares at the mansion. She has never seen a house this large in her life. Olivia is awake now too, her eyes still heavy with sleep, yet she can't hide her amazement as she peers through the car window. Vincent steps out first, then opens the back door to help the two girls out. Sophia climbs down cautiously, her hand still tightly holding her sister's, never letting go. Olivia clings to her, her small legs trembling the moment they touch the snow-covered ground. The mansion's front door swings open. Mrs. Rosa, the housekeeper who has worked for the Moretti family for more than 20 years, comes out with worry on her face because Vincent is home later than expected. But when she sees the two children huddled beside her boss, she freezes as if turned to ice. "My lord," she gasps, lifting a hand to cover her mouth. Her eyes sweep from the girls' filthy, tangled hair to their thin, soaked clothes, to the lips that are still tinged blue with cold. "Vincent, who are these children?" "Children who need help." Vincent answers shortly. "Rosa, get hot water and clean clothes ready for them. And food. They have to be hungry. Mrs. Rosa nods at once. The instincts of a woman who has raised generation after generation of children snapping to life. She hurries back inside, murmuring prayers in Spanish under her breath. Just then, a clear young voice calls out from the staircase. "Dad, you're home." Lucas, a 5-year-old boy with black hair and eyes identical to Vincent's, comes charging down the stairs. He's wearing dinosaur pajamas, his bare feet pattering across the wooden floor. Lucas is used to waiting for his father every night, and this is his favorite moment of the day. But when he runs closer and sees 2 unfamiliar girls standing beside his father, he stops dead. His big round eyes widen, not with fear, but with curiosity. "Dad, did you bring babies home?" Lucas asks, his voice bursting with excitement. He has asked his father many times to give him a little brother or sister, but Vincent has always brushed the question aside. Now, seeing 2 girls right in front of him, Lucas can hardly believe his eyes. Vincent kneels to his son's level. "They're going to stay with us tonight," he explains gently. "They need help. Can you help Dad welcome them?" Lucas nods enthusiastically. He steps toward Sophia and Olivia with a huge grin. "Hi, I'm Lucas. Do you like dinosaurs? I have lots of dinosaurs." Sophia looks at the boy in front of her, not sure how to react. She's used to being chased away, being yelled at, being treated like a burden. This warm welcome leaves her confused. Olivia stays shyly behind her sister's back, but the fear in her eyes has softened a little. "Come inside, all of you," Vincent says, resting a hand on Sophia's shoulder and gently guiding her toward the door. It's much warmer inside. Mrs. Rosa is waiting at the entrance, holding 2 large bath towels. She kneels in front of the girls, her eyes shining with tears. "Poor babies," she says, her voice thick with emotion. "Come with me. I'm going to give you a hot bath, and then you'll have warm food. No one is going to hurt you here anymore." Sophia looks at the gray-haired woman in front of her, then at Vincent, then at Lucas, smiling at her. For the first time in a very long while, she feels a small flicker of hope spark to life inside her. Maybe, just maybe, tonight will be different. Mrs. Rosa leads Sophia and Olivia up to the bathroom on the 2nd floor. She's already prepared a warm bath topped with fragrant lavender-scented bubbles, soft, thick towels, and a set of clean clothes she found from the old things of a friend's daughter. At first, Sophia refuses to undress. She stops at the bathroom door, her eyes sharp with suspicion. But Mrs. Rosa is patient. She speaks gently, reassuring the child that she can wait outside the door if that's what Sophia wants. In the end, when Sophia helps Olivia peel off the thin, filthy layer of clothing, Mrs. Rosa has to clamp a hand over her mouth to keep from crying out loud. Across Olivia's small back, bruises overlap bruises, some already fading into a sick yellow, others still a deep, violent purple. Old injuries and new ones weave together, telling a painful story without a single word. Sophia isn't any better. Long raised marks stripe her arms as if from a whip, and on her belly there's a faint scar, long healed. Mrs. Rosa swallows her tears and gently helps the girls into the bath. She washes their hair, loosening each tangled strand, scrubbing the dirt from their skin without pressing on the wounds. Through it all, Sophia doesn't cry. She doesn't whimper. She doesn't say it hurts. She just sits there, eyes fixed somewhere far away, as if she's gotten used to everything. That surrender is more frightening than any sob could ever be. After the bath, Mrs. Rosa brings them down to the kitchen, where she has prepared a simple meal, but one with everything they need. Hot chicken soup, soft bread, and a little fruit, nothing too rich, because she's afraid their empty stomachs won't be able to handle heavy food. Vincent is standing in the corner of the kitchen, arms folded across his chest, watching it all. When Mrs. Rosa passes him, she stops and speaks in a low voice, meant only for him. "They were beaten," she says, her voice shaking. "Bruises all over their bodies. Some are new, only a few days old, and some are older. Vincent, who did this to them?" Vincent doesn't answer. His jaw clenches so hard the tendons rise along his neck. His hands curl into fists, his fingers squeezing so tightly his knuckles turn white. Fury flares in his chest like fire, burning away every last rational thought. He wants to find whoever did this and make him pay 100 times over. But Vincent forces the rage down. Not now. Right now. The children need food, rest, and the feeling of safety. Revenge can wait. He walks to the table and sits down across from Sophia and Olivia. Lucas is already there, watching the 2 new girls with eager curiosity. "Eat," Vincent says, his voice trying to stay gentle even as everything inside him boils. There's no rush. There's plenty of food here. Sophia looks at the bowl of soup in front of her, then looks at Vincent as if she needs confirmation one more time. When he nods, she finally picks up her spoon, but instead of eating right away, she scoops up a spoonful and brings it to Olivia first. Always the little sister first. Olivia begins to eat, and what Vincent sees makes his heart feel like it's being crushed in a fist. She eats so fast she nearly chokes, spoon after spoon disappearing into her mouth without pause. Sophia does the same, eating as if this is the last meal she'll ever have, as if someone might come at any second and snatch the bowl from her hands. Neither child says a word. Their eyes stay fixed on their bowls, their shoulders hunched as if they're shielding the food itself. Mrs. Rosa stands by the stove, tears quietly sliding down her cheeks. Lucas stops eating and stares at the girls, confused. "Dad, why are they eating so fast?" he asks innocently. "Aren't they afraid their stomach will hurt?" Vincent doesn't know how to answer his son. He only rests a hand on Lucas's head and speaks softly. "They've been hungry for a long time, son. Sometimes, when people are hungry for too long, they forget how to eat slowly." Sophia hears that. She freezes, her spoon hanging in midair. She looks at Vincent, and for the first time he sees something besides fear in her eyes. Gratitude, and maybe the smallest fragile thread of trust. "I'm sorry," Sophia whispers, as if eating too fast is a mistake that deserves punishment. "You don't have to apologize," Vincent says, his voice gentler than it has ever been. "You didn't do anything wrong. Just slow down. There's plenty. If you run out, I'll get you more." Olivia lifts her head, her eyes shining. "Really?" she asks, her voice full of wonder, as if she has just heard something impossible. "We can really have more." Vincent feels his heart splinter into pieces. What kind of life have these children lived, where being allowed to eat until they're full feels like a luxury? He nods, not trusting his voice if he tries to say anything else. And in that warm kitchen that night, the two little girls slowly begin to learn again how to eat a meal without fear. After the meal, Lucas can't contain his excitement for another second. He hops down from his chair and runs over to Sophia and Olivia, his eyes shining as if he's just been handed a Christmas present. "Hey, do you want to see my toys?" he asks, his voice bursting with enthusiasm. "I've got so many dinosaurs. I've got a T-Rex. I've got a Triceratops. I've got a Velociraptor too." She isn't used to anyone wanting to play with her, and she's even less used to kindness that comes with no conditions attached. But before she can refuse, Lucas grabs Olivia's hand and pulls her toward the living room, where his toys are scattered all over the floor. Olivia lets him lead her, her eyes still dazed, but no longer frightened the way she was at first. Vincent watches from a distance. He sees his son happily introducing each dinosaur to the two girls, explaining the names, the features, and the eating habits of every species like a true little paleontology expert. Lucas has a kind of magic, the ability to make other people feel at ease. Maybe it's because he has never known judgment or prejudice. To Lucas, everyone is a friend until they prove otherwise. "This is my T-Rex," Lucas says, placing the biggest plastic dinosaur into Olivia's hands. "You keep it. It'll protect you from bad guys." Olivia looks down at the dinosaur in her hands, then looks up at Lucas. He's smiling at her, a smile with nothing fake in it, nothing calculated. And then something miraculous happens. Olivia smiles. It's only a small smile, light as a butterfly touching a flower, but it's the first smile she's shown since Vincent found them. Sophia stands beside her, watching her sister smile, and her eyes suddenly fill with tears. She can't remember the last time Olivia smiled. Vincent feels something warm spread through his chest. His son, his tiny 5-year-old boy, has done what Vincent couldn't do. He made Olivia smile. When the clock strikes 9 o'clock, Mrs. Rosa reminds them it's time for bed. Lucas protests immediately because he still wants to play with his new big sisters. But then he suddenly thinks of something. "Dad, where are they going to sleep?" Lucas asks. Vincent hasn't even answered yet when Lucas blurts out, "They can sleep in my room. My room has a really big bed. I can sleep with you instead." "Are you sure?" Vincent asks, surprised by his son's generosity. "I'm sure, Dad." Lucas nods so hard he almost topples over. "They need a bed more than I do. They were so cold. I'll be warmer with you." Sophia looks at Lucas, then at Vincent, not sure what to say. She has never met anyone willing to give up something of their own for her and her sister without asking for anything in return. "Thank you," Sophia whispers, her voice catching. "You're so kind." Lucas only grins and runs off to grab extra blankets for them. Mrs. Rosa leads the girls up to Lucas's room, while Vincent stays behind in the living room, watching until their figures disappear up the stairs. He takes out his phone and steps onto the balcony, where no one can overhear his conversation. Dante picks up after the first ring. "Boss, is something wrong?" "I need you to investigate," Vincent says, and his voice slips back into the familiar coldness of a Mafia boss. "The two kids I brought home, their names are Sophia and Olivia. They're 7, twins. Their birthday is in April. I want to know who they are, who their parents are, and most importantly, who hurt them." "Understood, boss," Dante replies. "I'll get you results as soon as possible." Vincent ends the call and looks out into the Chicago night. Somewhere out there, someone dared to beat and abandon 2 innocent children, and Vincent Moretti will find him, no matter the cost. The next morning, Vincent wakes up early as usual. Lucas is still fast asleep beside him, curled up in the blankets like a little kitten. Vincent slips out of bed quietly and heads downstairs, where Mrs. Rosa has already prepared breakfast. But the moment he steps into the kitchen, he sees something that stops him in his tracks. Sophia is standing in the corner of the room, her back against the wall, her eyes locked on Mrs. Rosa as she cooks. She isn't sitting at the table. She isn't coming closer to the stove. She's just standing there like a small animal keeping watch for danger. When Vincent walks in, Sophia flinches and turns, fear flashing across her eyes before she realizes who it is. "Good morning," she says softly, her voice rough as if she hasn't slept enough. "You're up early," Vincent says, working to keep his tone normal. "Where's your sister?" "Olivia is still asleep," Sophia answers. "I didn't want to wake her." Vincent nods and moves toward the table. But when he reaches for a cup, Sophia suddenly steps back, her shoulders drawing in as if she's bracing herself for a hit. Vincent goes still, understanding what just happened. It's an unconscious reflex, a body trained to dodge hands that rise. "I'm only grabbing the cup," Vincent says gently, hurting at the fact that he even has to explain something so obvious. "I'm not going to hit anyone." Sophia drops her gaze, shame plain on her face. "I'm sorry," she whispers. "I didn't mean to." "You don't have to apologize," Vincent says. "You didn't do anything wrong." Breakfast unfolds in silence. Olivia is brought down a little later by Mrs. Rosa, still half asleep and clinging tightly to her sister's hand. Lucas comes running down last, carrying a whole pile of dinosaur toys, making the room feel a little brighter. But Vincent can't stop watching the 2 girls. Sophia asks permission before taking bread, even though he has already told her she can help herself. Olivia glances around every time she lifts her spoon, as if she's waiting for someone to stop her. Both of them eat in a posture that looks ready to bolt at any second. The signs of trauma are visible in the smallest gestures. These children have lived in fear for so long it has sunk into their instincts. Vincent's phone vibrates. He looks at the screen and sees Dante's name. He stands, signals Mrs. Rosa to keep an eye on the kids, then steps out into the hallway. "Boss, I've got results." Dante's voice comes through the line. "Talk," Vincent orders. The children are named Sophia and Olivia, twins, 7 years old, born in April. Their mother's name is Scarlett Hayes, 28 years old. She's currently in a hospital in Cleveland, in a coma for 3 weeks after a severe infection, and there are signs of abuse. Vincent tightens his grip on the phone. Scarlett Hayes. The name rings through his mind like a bell, waking memories he has tried to bury for 7 years. That can't be right. There are millions of women named Scarlett in the world. This has to be a coincidence. "And their father?" Vincent asks, his voice trembling despite his effort to control it. "The biological father is unknown," Dante continues. "But their mother remarried 2 years ago to a man named Marcus Webb. He has a record involving drugs and domestic violence. I'm guessing he's the one who abandoned the kids, and the one who beat them." Vincent grinds his teeth. Rage surges in his chest, but he forces it down. "Anything else?" "One more thing, boss," Dante says, his voice hesitant. "I found a photo of the mother in the hospital file. I'll send it to you." Vincent's phone buzzes with an incoming message. He opens it, and the world seems to stop turning. The photo on the screen shows a woman with auburn hair, gaunt and pale in a hospital bed. But even after 7 years, even after she's changed so much, Vincent recognizes her instantly. It's Scarlett. His Scarlett. The girl who vanished from his life 7 years ago without a single goodbye. The girl his mother said took money and left. The girl he tried to forget, but never truly could. "Boss," Dante calls when he doesn't hear a response. Are you still there? Vincent can't answer. He just stands there, staring at the photo, his heart pounding hard enough to shake his chest. If Scarlett is the mother of Sophia and Olivia, and the children are 7, born in April, then that means they were conceived about 8 years ago, right around the time he and Scarlett were still together. The girl's eyes flash through his mind, that distinctive blue-gray, the same color he sees in the mirror every morning. Vincent stands in the hallway, his phone still clenched in his hand, Scarlett's photo still glowing on the screen. He doesn't know how long he's been standing there, maybe a few seconds, maybe a few minutes. His mind is spinning with thousands of questions that have no answers. Why is Scarlett in Cleveland? Why did she marry a violent man like Marcus Webb? And most of all, are those children his? He has to be sure. A small cry from the living room yanks Vincent out of his thoughts. He slips the phone into his pocket and moves quickly toward the sound. What he sees in the doorway makes him stop. Olivia is curled up on the sofa, both hands gripping the medallion at her neck, tears streaming down her cheeks. Sophia sits beside her, one arm around her sister's shoulders, the other stroking her hair, whispering comfort. Lucas stands nearby, worried and helpless, not knowing what to do. I miss Mom, Olivia sobs, her voice so choked it's almost impossible to hear. I want to see Mom. Where is she? Why isn't she coming to get us? Sophia hugs her tighter, her own eyes red, but she fights back her tears. Mom is sick, Olivia. Mom is in the hospital. She'll come get us when she's better. But what if she doesn't get better? Olivia asks, her voice full of despair. What if she never comes to get us? Vincent walks into the room. Lucas runs to his father and grabs his hand like he's searching for safety. Dad, Olivia is crying, the boy says anxiously. I don't know what to do. Vincent nods at his son, then moves toward the sofa. He sits down across from the girls, leaving enough space so he won't frighten them. His gaze drops to the medallion Olivia is clutching as if it's a treasure. A small silver medallion, dulled by time, yet still cared for with devotion. Can you let me see the medallion? Vincent asks gently. Olivia looks up at him, eyes wet with tears. She hesitates, then slowly slips the chain off her neck and places the medallion into Vincent's hand. It's my mom's, Olivia says, her voice trembling. She gave it to us before she went to the hospital. She said if we missed her, we could open it and look. Vincent holds the medallion in his palm, feeling its small weight. His fingers tremble slightly as he finds the latch. Part of him is afraid of what he's about to see, but another part of him needs the truth. The lid pops open with a soft click, and Vincent's heart stops. Inside is a tiny photograph, old and slightly blurred with time, but the face in it is unmistakable. Scarlett, auburn hair, soft and full, warm brown eyes, that bright smile he once loved to the point of madness. This isn't a stranger with the same name. This is his Scarlett, the girl he loved for 4 years, the girl who vanished from his life 7 years ago without a single explanation. That's our mom, Sophia says when she sees Vincent staring at the picture. She's really pretty, isn't she? Vincent doesn't answer. He lifts his head and looks straight at Sophia, really looks at her for the first time since he found them. And what he sees makes it hard to breathe. Sophia's eyes, that rare blue-gray, threaded with tiny brown specks around the pupil. That isn't Scarlett's eye color. Scarlett's eyes are brown. Those are his eyes. The eyes he sees in the mirror every morning. The eyes every member of the Moretti family carries. Vincent turns to Olivia. The same color, the same shape, the same distinctive brown flecks. He looks closer, studying every line of both girls' faces. The shape of the nose, like his. The curve of the mouth, like Scarlett's. The way Sophia furrows her brow when she thinks. Exactly the way he does. The angle of Olivia's chin, stubborn and sharp, just like his when he was young. 7 years ago, Scarlett disappeared. 7 years ago, she was pregnant and he never knew. And now these 7-year-old girls are sitting in front of him, carrying features no one could deny. Sir, are you okay? Sophia asks, worried when Vincent stays silent too long. You look pale. Vincent looks at her, his throat tightening. He wants to say something, but he can't find words that fit. How can he tell these children that he might be their father? How can he explain that he lost 7 years without even knowing they existed? Your mother, Vincent says slowly, forcing his voice to stay steady. What's her full name? Sophia looks at him with curiosity. Scarlett Vanessa Hayes, she answers. Why are you asking? Scarlett Vanessa Hayes, the full name, the right woman. There's no doubt left. Vincent stands up abruptly, making all 3 children flinch. He places the medallion back in Olivia's hands, then strides out of the room, unable to stay another second, afraid he'll lose control if he does. He needs space. He needs time. He needs to confirm that what he's thinking is real. If Sophia and Olivia are truly his daughters, then someone stole 7 years from him. 7 years he could have been with them. 7 years he could have protected them from an abuser. 7 years he will never get back, and Vincent Moretti will find the person behind it all, no matter who it is. The very next morning, Vincent takes Sophia and Olivia to a private clinic he trusts. He tells the girls it's just a routine health check, to make sure they didn't get sick after spending that long night out in the freezing cold. Sophia looks at him with an expression that's half belief, half doubt, but she doesn't ask anything more. Olivia follows every instruction quietly. She's used to not questioning adults. The doctor takes blood samples from both girls, and from Vincent as well. Vincent requests an urgent DNA test, willing to pay any price to get the results as fast as possible. The doctor promises the results within 3 days. 3 days. 72 hours. It becomes the longest stretch of time in Vincent's life. On the first day, he tries to work as if nothing has changed. He meets with members of the organization, handles business problems, makes decisions about major deals. But his mind isn't there. Every time he looks at a file, he sees Sophia's blue-gray eyes. Every time he listens to someone speak, he hears Olivia's trembling voice asking about her mother. Dante notices something off about his boss, but he doesn't dare ask. He simply takes care of what he can, quietly easing the load on Vincent's shoulders. The second day is worse. Vincent can't sleep. He lies in bed, staring at the ceiling, his mind churning through endless possibilities. If the girls really are his, why didn't Scarlett tell him? Why did she leave without a single word? His mother said Scarlett took money and vanished. But the Scarlett he knew would never do that. She wasn't greedy. She loved him. He was sure of it. Or at least, he used to be sure. Now he isn't sure of anything. At 3 a.m, he goes down to the living room and finds Sophia sitting on the sofa, her eyes fixed on the window. She can't sleep either. When she sees Vincent, she starts to stand as if she's going to leave, but he signals for her to stay. He sits down at the other end of the sofa, keeping his distance, yet close enough for her to know he's there. They sit in silence for an hour. Neither of them says a word, yet somehow, the presence of the other brings a small measure of comfort. On the 3rd day, Vincent can't focus on anything. He cancels every meeting, refuses every call, and sits in his office waiting. Every time his phone vibrates, his heart jumps into his throat, then sinks when he realizes it isn't the clinic. He has faced the most notorious mobsters, walked through blood-soaked turf wars, stared down the barrel of a gun without fear. But waiting for this DNA test terrifies him more than all of that put together. Finally, on the afternoon of the 3rd day, his phone rings with the clinic's number. Vincent answers, his hand shaking so badly he almost drops it. "Mr. Moretti," the doctor says on the other end. "The results are in." "I'm listening," Vincent says, his voice raw. "The probability of a biological relationship between you and the 2 girls is 99.99%. In other words, you are the biological father of Sophia and Olivia." Vincent doesn't speak. He can't. "The written report will be sent to your address later today," the doctor continues when he hears no response. "Mr. Moretti, are you still there?" "I'm here," Vincent replies mechanically. "Thank you, doctor." He ends the call and sinks into his chair. 99.99%. There's no doubt left. Sophia and Olivia are his daughters. He is their father. The children he found shivering behind trash bags on a winter night. The children who were abandoned and beaten. The children who begged him not to take them back because they were terrified of being hit. They are his daughters. Tears slide silently down Vincent's cheeks. He can't remember the last time he cried. Maybe it was when Scarlett disappeared. Maybe it was even longer ago than that. But now, alone in his office, he cries. He cries for the 7 years that are gone. 7 years he didn't get to watch his daughters grow. 7 years they lived in fear and pain while he never even knew. 7 years someone stole from him. And when the tears finally stop, only anger remains. A cold, ruthless anger. The kind that belongs to Vincent Moretti. Someone hid his daughters from him for 7 years. And he will find that person. Vincent drives all night from Chicago to Cleveland. He doesn't let Dante come with him. He doesn't bring bodyguards. He doesn't tell anyone where he's going. This is between him and Scarlett. between him and the past he lost, between him and the years he can never get back. By the time he reaches the hospital, dawn has already begun to break. The pale winter sunrise filters through the glass, laying long streaks of light across the spotless white hallway floor. Vincent walks through the sharp, familiar scent of disinfectant, his heart pounding hard in his chest even as his face stays calm, the way it always does. Room 312, third floor, intensive care. He's memorized it from Dante's report, but when he stands in front of the door, his legs suddenly feel heavy, as if he can't make himself step forward. 7 years. 7 years without seeing her. 7 years believing she betrayed him. And now she's on the other side of this door, unconscious, alone, while their daughters nearly froze to death on the street. Vincent draws a deep breath, then pushes the door open and walks in. The room is small, dimly lit, filled with the steady beep of machines keeping time with a heartbeat. And on the white bed at the center, Scarlett lies there. She's so thin he almost doesn't recognize her. Her cheekbones jut sharply. Her eyes are sunken. Her skin is as pale as paper. The auburn hair he once loved is now dull and sparse against the pillow. Tubes and wires run from her to the machines, holding her in life one day at a time. Vincent moves to the bedside, his legs feeling as if they're made of stone. He pulls a chair closer and sits down, unable to look away from the woman's face. This is his Scarlett. The 21-year-old girl who once overflowed with life has become a fragile shadow lying motionless in a hospital bed. "I'm sorry," Vincent whispers, his voice catching. "I'm sorry I didn't find you. I'm sorry I believed the lies. I'm sorry I left you alone for 7 years." He takes Scarlett's hand, cold and thin, holding it carefully as if he's afraid of hurting her. The fingers that once laced through his, the hands that once smoothed his hair every night, now lie helpless in his grasp. "Our daughters, Sophia and Olivia, they're safe now," Vincent continues, tears sliding silently down his cheeks without him even noticing. "I'll protect them. I won't let anyone hurt them again. You just focus on getting better. I'll be here." The door opens, and a middle-aged doctor steps in. He looks at Vincent with surprise, not used to anyone visiting this patient. "Are you family for Miss Hayes?" the doctor asks, professional, but not without concern. Vincent stands, wiping his tears quickly with the back of his hand. "I'm the father of her children." The doctor nods, and doesn't ask about the complicated story behind that sentence. He flips through the chart and begins to explain. Miss Hayes was admitted 3 weeks ago with severe sepsis. There are also signs of prolonged malnutrition, and multiple injuries on her body that suggest long-term abuse. We've controlled the infection, but she still hasn't regained consciousness. "What's her condition now?" Vincent asks, and his voice has returned to the steady calm of a man who's used to making decisions. "It's hard to predict," the doctor answers honestly. "Her body is recovering. Her vital signs are stable. But whether she wakes up, and when, no one can say. Some patients wake up after a few days, some after a few months, some—" The doctor stops, leaving the sentence unfinished. Vincent understands what he isn't saying. Some never wake up. "I'm moving her to the best hospital in Chicago," Vincent says. "I want her cared for by the best doctors, with the most advanced equipment. Money isn't an issue." The doctor nods, writing down the request. Vincent looks at Scarlett one last time, then walks out of the room. In the empty hallway, he takes out his phone and calls Dante. "Boss," Dante answers on the first ring. "Marcus Webb," Vincent says, his voice cold as ice. "Find him. I want to know where he is, what he's doing, how he's breathing. And when you find him, hold him. I'll meet him personally." "Understood, boss," Dante says without hesitation. "I'll update you the moment I have something." Vincent ends the call and looks out the window. The Cleveland sky is gray and heavy, matching the weight in his chest. Somewhere out there, Marcus Webb is living freely after 2 years of tormenting Scarlett and the children, but not for much longer. Vincent Moretti will make sure of that. Dante finds Marcus Webb 2 days later. He's hiding in a cheap motel on the outskirts of Indianapolis, about 3 hours' drive from Chicago. The moment Vincent gets the news, he leaves at once. He doesn't bring anyone. He doesn't need anyone. This is personal. The black SUV stops in front of a run-down strip of rooms, paint peeling off the walls, the sign flickering weakly in the night. Dante has already stationed men nearby, making sure Marcus can't slip away. Vincent steps out, then walks with steady, deliberate strides toward room 17. He doesn't knock. He kicks the thin door in with a single blow. Marcus Webb is sprawled on the bed, surrounded by empty beer bottles and scattered packets of white powder. He jerks upright when the door slams into the wall, his eyes dull from alcohol and drugs as he tries to focus on the intruder. He's a man in his 40s, scruffy beard, a lean frame but with thick, roped arms, the kind built from a lifetime of violence. "Who the hell are you?" Marcus slurs, his hand fumbling under the pillow for something. Vincent moves like a blade, seizing Marcus's wrist and twisting hard. Bone cracks, Marcus screams, and the knife he's trying to grab clatters to the floor. Vincent picks it up and studies it under the weak light. The blade is sharp, stained with rust, and marked with dark brown smears that have dried. Blood. Maybe Scarlett's blood, or his daughter's. "You use this to beat your wife and kids?" Vincent asks, his voice so calm it's terrifying. Marcus clutches his broken wrist, his face contorted with pain. "Who are you? What do you want?" Vincent drops to a crouch, grips Marcus by the hair, and yanks his head back, forcing him to look straight into Vincent's eyes. "The 2 kids you dumped out on the street a few days ago. They're my daughters." Marcus's eyes go wide, fear pushing the haze out of him as he realizes he's facing someone far more dangerous than he ever imagined. "I didn't know," he stammers. "I didn't know whose they were. Scarlett never said. Don't blame me. Don't blame you." Vincent tightens his grip until Marcus whimpers. "You beat your wife so badly she ended up in the hospital. You tormented my daughters for 2 years. Then you threw them out on the street on a winter night when it was 5 degrees below zero. And you're telling me not to blame you." "I'm sorry," Marcus sobs, snot and tears streaming down his face. "I was wrong. Please, don't. Please let me go." Vincent looks at the man kneeling and begging in front of him. The rage inside him is screaming, demanding blood, demanding punishment that fits the crime. He could kill Marcus here, right now, and no one would ever know. He could make Marcus suffer 100 times over for what he did to Scarlett and the girls. He could, and he wants to. But then Sophia's face flashes through his mind. Those blue-gray eyes full of fear, yet still forcing themselves to be brave. The way she always steps in front of her sister to protect her. The way she's looked at him with that fragile hope that he'll be different from the men she's known. If he kills Marcus, he becomes a murderer in the shadow of his daughters. And even if they never learn it, he'll know it. And he doesn't want to be that man. Not now. Not when he's only just found his children again. Vincent lets Marcus go and shoves him to the floor. Marcus curls in on himself, trembling like a beaten dog. "I'm not going to kill you," Vincent says, his voice cold as steel. "Not because you deserve to live, but because my daughters deserve a father who isn't a killer." He pulls out his phone and calls the police. When the line connects, he reports a case of domestic abuse and child abandonment in a calm, measured voice, giving the motel address and the suspect's name. While he waits for the police to arrive, Vincent stands guard over Marcus, giving him no chance to run. "You think this is over," Marcus mutters, trying to scrape together a shred of courage. "I do a few years and I'm out. You can't do anything to me." Vincent smiles, but the smile doesn't reach his eyes. "You're going to prison for abusing and abandoning children, but that's only the surface. I'm Vincent Moretti. You might not know that name, but the men inside will, and I'll make sure every single day you're in there is hell." Marcus's face drains white. Sirens wail somewhere in the distance, growing louder, closing in. Vincent steps out of the room, leaving Marcus for justice to take. He will pay, one way or another. 2 weeks pass since Marcus is arrested. Scarlett has been transferred to the best hospital in Chicago at Vincent's request. She lies in a private room, cared for by a top team of doctors, with every most advanced piece of medical equipment at her disposal. Vincent visits her every day, no matter how heavy the work becomes. He sits beside her bed, holds her hand, and talks to her even though he knows she can't hear him. He tells her about Sophia and Olivia, about how they're slowly healing, about how Lucas has become their closest friend. He tells her about meals, about laughter, about nightmares, and the way he tries to soothe them. He wants her to know their daughters are being loved. Then one afternoon, while Vincent is sitting by the bed reading a work report, Scarlett's finger twitches. He thinks he imagined it, but then the fingers move again, clearer this time. Vincent jolts to his feet and grabs her hand. "Scarlett, can you hear me?" Scarlett's eyelids tremble, then slowly open. The warm brown eyes he has missed for 7 years struggle to adjust to the light in the room. She blinks a few times, her lips moving as if she's trying to speak, but no sound comes out. Vincent presses the call button for a nurse, then turns back to Scarlett. "Don't try to talk yet," he says softly. "You're in the hospital. You're safe now." Scarlett looks at him, her gaze slowly coming into focus. When she recognizes who's standing in front of her, shock spreads across her pale face. She tries again, and this time her voice comes out, dry and weak as a dead leaf. "Vincent." "It's me," Vincent answers, tears breaking free, even though he doesn't want them to. "It's me, Scarlett." "The kids," Scarlett whispers, fear suddenly flooding her eyes. "Where are the kids? Where are Sophia and Olivia?" "Marcus. He left them. It was so cold. They'll freeze. They're safe," Vincent says quickly, soothing her. "I found them. They're at my house, being taken care of. They're doing well. You don't have to worry." Tears slide down Scarlett's cheeks. "You found them," she repeats, her voice cracking. "They're alive. They're okay. They're okay," Vincent says firmly. "I'll tell you everything. But first you need rest. The doctor is going to check you." But Scarlett won't rest. She tightens her grip on Vincent's hand, her eyes pleading. "You know, don't you?" she asks, her voice shaking. "You know they're your children." Vincent nods. "I know. I had a DNA test done." Scarlett closes her eyes, tears still falling. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I tried. I tried so many times. But your mother, she stopped me. She threatened me." "I know," Vincent says, his voice gentle but full of hurt. "I talked to my mother. I know what she did to you." Scarlett opens her eyes and stares at him in disbelief. "You know, and you don't hate me. How could I hate you?" Vincent says, his hand smoothing her hair. "I should have come looking for you. I shouldn't have believed what my mother told me. I'm the one at fault, not you." They look at each other in silence, 7 years of distance, like an invisible wall between them. Then Scarlett begins to tell him, her voice weak but steady. She tells him about that day, when Victoria came to her small apartment with a face as cold as ice. She tells him about the threats, about how Victoria said she would destroy her father's career, make her mother lose her job, push her family into ruin. She tells him about the loneliness and fear of discovering she was pregnant with twins at only 21, with no one beside her. She tells him about the letters she wrote, dozens of them, sent to every address she knew for Vincent, and how she never received a reply. She thought he got them and chose silence. She thought he didn't want her anymore. "I never got a single letter," Vincent says bitterly. "My mother burned them all. She blocked every way you tried to reach me." Scarlett breaks down, sobbing, the raw heart-tearing cries of someone who has carried too much for too long, and she keeps talking. About the years of raising 2 children alone, working 2 or 3 jobs at once just to scrape by. She tells him about meeting Marcus, about how he seemed kind at first, how he helped her when she was exhausted and sick. She thought she'd found a safe harbor, but after the wedding he changed completely. He began to hit her, to hit the girls, and she was too weak, too worn down to fight back. "I tried to protect them," Scarlett says, her voice breaking with sobs. "I tried to take it instead of them, but I wasn't strong enough. I couldn't protect my babies. I'm a terrible mother." "No," Vincent says sharply, his hand tightening around hers. "You're the bravest mother I've ever known. You raised them alone for 7 years while I didn't even know. You fought until you had nothing left. That isn't terrible. That's strength." Scarlett looks at him, her eyes wet with tears, but a small thread of hope flickers in them. "You really don't blame me. I don't blame you. I only blame myself for not finding you sooner." Vincent bends down and presses a soft kiss to Scarlett's forehead. "We can't get back the 7 years we lost," he says, "but we can start again from now. The kids need both their mom and their dad. And me, I need you." Scarlett nods, tears still falling, but this time they're tears of relief and hope. "I want to see the kids. I miss them so much." "I'll bring them," Vincent promises. "Tomorrow, as soon as the doctor allows it." In that hospital room that afternoon, 2 people who once loved each other, once lost each other, once believed they would never meet again, finally find their way back to one another. And even though the pain of the past can't be erased, the future still lies wide open in front of them. The next morning, Vincent wakes Sophia and Olivia earlier than usual. Both girls look at him with anxious eyes, unsure of what's happening. Since coming to Vincent's house, they've slowly begun to get used to a stable life. But the fear of being abandoned is still buried deep inside them. Vincent kneels in front of them, looking straight into their eyes with an expression that is serious, yet gentle. "I have something very important to tell you. Your mother woke up." Sophia's eyes widen, as if she can't believe what she just heard. Olivia breaks into tears immediately, both hands clutching her sister's hand. Mom woke up, Sophia asks, her voice trembling. She isn't sick anymore. She's still weak, but she's awake, Vincent explains. And she really wants to see you. I'm taking you to the hospital right now. Okay. Both Sophia and Olivia nod over and over, tears rolling down their cheeks. They've been waiting for this moment for weeks, praying every night before bed that their mother would get better and come for them. And now it's about to become real. Lucas insists on coming too. He's heard so much about the girl's mother and wants to meet the woman his father seems to care about so deeply. Vincent agrees, thinking this is also a good chance for the whole family to begin getting used to one another. On the drive to the hospital, no one says much. Sophia and Olivia sit pressed close together in the back seat, hands locked, eyes on the window while their minds are somewhere else entirely. Lucas sits beside his father, glancing back now and then at the girls with open curiosity. When the car stops in front of the hospital, Vincent leads the 3 children down the long corridors, into the elevator, and finally to Scarlett's room. He pauses and looks down at Sophia and Olivia. Your mom is waiting for you inside. Go on in. He opens the door, and the girls step in. Scarlett is lying on the bed, her head propped up by pillows. When she sees her daughters appear in the doorway, she breaks into tears immediately. Sophia, Olivia, she calls, her voice breaking, her thin arms opening wide. In that moment, time seems to stop. Then Olivia runs to her mother, throwing herself into her arms with a sob. Sophia follows right behind, and the 2 girls cling to their mother as if she might vanish again. Mom, Olivia cries, her voice so choked it's nearly impossible to understand. I missed you so much. I thought you'd never wake up. I thought you left us. I would never leave you, Scarlett says, tears pouring down her cheeks. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. I'm sorry you had to suffer so much. Sophia doesn't speak. She just holds her mother tightly, her shoulders shaking with sobs. For the first time since Vincent found them, she allows herself to cry for real, not quiet tears in the middle of the night, but the raw sobbing of a child who has finally found her mother again. Mother and daughters cling to each other and cry, and Vincent stands in the doorway, watching in silence. The scene makes his heart ache and warm at the same time. Ache for the years they lost, warm because at last they are together. Lucas stands beside his father, holding his hand, his big eyes fixed on what he's seeing with a mix of wonder and emotion. After a long while, when the tears have eased, Sophia lifts her head and looks at her mother. Her gaze shifts from Scarlett to Vincent at the door, then back to her mother again. Mom, she asks, her voice still trembling. Is Vincent really our dad? Scarlett looks at her daughter, then looks at Vincent. Their eyes meet, and Vincent gives a small nod. Yes, sweetheart, Scarlett says, her voice gentle but certain. Vincent is your biological father. He found you when you needed him most, and he took care of you when I couldn't. Sophia's eyes go wide. He's really our real dad. He isn't just a kind man who saved us. Vincent steps closer and kneels beside the hospital bed, bringing himself to his daughter's level. I'm your father, he says, his voice steady and warm. I didn't know you existed for 7 years because of some complicated things, but now I know, and I'm never letting you go again. Olivia reaches out and takes Vincent's hand. So we really have a dad, she says, her voice full of wonder and happiness. We have a dad, and we have a mom. We really have a family. Yes, Vincent says, his eyes burning. We're a family. Lucas steps forward, looking at Scarlett with shy curiosity. Ma'am, he says softly, you're Sophia and Olivia's mom, right? Scarlett looks at the 5-year-old boy with black hair and eyes exactly like Vincent's. She knows he's Vincent's son with someone else, but she doesn't feel jealousy or bitterness. She only sees a sweet child looking at her with curiosity and a fragile kind of hope. Yes, I'm their mom, Scarlett says, smiling gently. And you're Lucas, aren't you? The girls have told me so much about you. Lucas's eyes brighten. Really? What did they say about me? They said you're very kind, that you shared your toys and even gave them your bedroom, Scarlett says. Thank you for taking care of them. Lucas grins and rushes to the bedside. I really like them. Can they stay with me forever? And can you stay too? Can you be my mom too? The whole room goes quiet. Scarlett looks at Vincent, unsure how to answer. Vincent looks at his son, then at Scarlett, and he sees quiet agreement in her eyes. If you want that, Scarlett says softly, then I'd be very happy to be your mom too. Lucas lets out a joyful shout and hugs Scarlett. She winces slightly from pain, but she's still smiling as she wraps her arms around him. And in that moment, 4 children and 2 adults become a family, not because of blood or obligation, but because of love and the choice to stay. 2 weeks after the reunion at the hospital, the doctors clear Scarlett to be discharged. She's still weak and needs time to fully recover, but her health has improved significantly. Vincent brings her back to his mansion, where a room has already been prepared for her. At first, Scarlett feels shy and out of place. 7 years of distance have turned her and Vincent into strangers, even though their hearts still remember each other. She doesn't want to become a burden. She doesn't want to intrude on the life he's built. But Vincent is firm. "This is your home," he tells her. "This is the home of our daughters. You belong here." The first days are awkward. Scarlett and Vincent treat each other like old friends, more than 2 people who once loved each other. They speak politely, keep a careful distance, and try not to touch the wounds that still haven't healed. But the children become the most natural bridge between them. Every meal, every bedtime story, every time they help with homework, becomes a chance for the 2 of them to grow used to each other's presence again. Sophia and Olivia seem reborn with their mother beside them. They cling to Scarlett everywhere she goes, terrified that if they look away for even a second, she'll disappear again. Scarlett understands that fear. She spends every moment she can with them, holding them, kissing them, telling them she loves them and will never leave them again. Slowly, the fear in the girl's eyes begins to fade. Lucas adapts the fastest to the change. He treats Scarlett like a natural part of the family, never drawing a line between a biological mother and a stepmother. One evening, while Scarlett is reading to all 3 children before bed, Lucas suddenly lifts his head and looks at her with wide eyes. "Miss Scarlett," he says shyly, "can I call you Mom?" Scarlett freezes. She glances toward Vincent, who's standing in the doorway, and he gives her a small nod and an encouraging smile. She looks back at Lucas, her heart filling until it aches. "Of course you can, sweetheart," she says, her voice thick. "You can call me Mom." Lucas squeals with happiness and throws his arms around her. "Mom, I really like having a mom. My real mom left and never came back. But now I have a new mom. You won't go away too, will you?" "I'm not going anywhere," Scarlett promises, tears falling into the boy's black hair. "I'm here, with you, with your sisters, forever." Sophia and Olivia watch that moment, and for the first time they understand that family isn't only the people who share your blood. Family is the people who choose to love you, choose to stay, choose to get through everything together. Vincent hires a therapist to help the children work through the trauma of the past. Sophia and Olivia see the doctor twice a week, talk about what they lived through, and learn how to handle nightmares and fear. The process isn't easy. There are nights Olivia still wakes up crying. There are moments Sophia still flinches when someone lifts a hand too fast. But with time, love, and patience, the wounds begin to heal. One weekend afternoon, while the whole family is in the kitchen with Mrs. Rosa baking, something miraculous happens. Lucas accidentally dumps flour onto Olivia's face, and Olivia retaliates by throwing a handful of flour back at him. A flour fight begins, and before long all 4 children are covered head to toe in white powder. Scarlett stands there, mouth open. Vincent doesn't react fast enough to stop it. Mrs. Rosa lifts her hands to the heavens and cries out to God. And then Sophia laughs. Not a forced smile, not the polite little grin she learned to make adults happy. This is real laughter, rising from deep inside, lighting up her eyes and making her whole face shine. Sophia's laughter fills the kitchen, and everyone stops to look. It's the first time since Vincent found her in that freezing winter night that she has laughed like this. A laugh with no burden, no fear, no worry. The laugh of a 7-year-old child finally allowed to be 7. Scarlett bursts into tears, and Vincent has to turn his face away to hide his own. Mrs. Rosa murmurs prayers of gratitude, and Lucas, Olivia, and Sophia keep the flour fight going, their laughter spilling through the house like the happiest music these walls have ever heard. The weeks that follow pass like a beautiful dream no one wants to wake from. Vincent's mansion is now filled with children's laughter, the smell of fresh-baked pastries from Mrs. Rosa's kitchen, and the warmth of a real family. But even as everything keeps getting better, Sophia and Olivia still don't call Vincent Dad. They call him Uncle Vincent, polite and distant, as if an invisible wall still stands between them. Vincent doesn't push. He understands that trust can't be built overnight, especially for children who have been hurt by the man they were told to call stepfather. He simply keeps trying every day, through small, steady actions, proving that he will always be there for them. One weekend afternoon, Vincent takes the whole family to a park near the house. It's one of those rare winter days in Chicago when the sun feels warm, the snow has thinned, and the children are thrilled to be outside. Lucas runs the moment they step out of the car, charging toward the playground with his usual enthusiasm. Sophia and Olivia move more slowly, but they're gradually pulled into the cheerful energy. Scarlett sits on a stone bench, still weak and needing rest, yet her face glows as she watches the children play. Vincent stands nearby, his eyes never leaving them. Olivia is on the swings. Lucas pushes from behind while Sophia keeps watch. Olivia's laughter rings out every time the swing flies high, and the sound makes Vincent smile. She's changed so much from the trembling child he found in the winter night. Then it happens too fast. Olivia decides she wants to jump off while the swing is still moving, a game she sees other kids doing and wants to try. But she misjudges the distance, loses her balance, and falls to the ground. Her knee hits the dirt, scraped raw, bleeding. Olivia's cry bursts out, and what happens next makes Vincent go still. "Daddy," Olivia sobs, both hands reaching toward Vincent. "Daddy, it hurts." Vincent is at her side before he even realizes he's moving. He drops to his knees, gently lifting Olivia and checking the injury on her knee. "I'm here," he says, his voice trembling with emotion. "I'm here, sweetheart. It's just a scrape. It's going to be okay. I'll wrap it up for you." Olivia throws her arms around Vincent's neck, crying into his shoulder. And in that instant, every last bit of distance between them seems to melt away. She called him Daddy, not because anyone told her to, but because in the moment she was most frightened and in pain. Her instinct reached for him. Scarlett stands a few feet away, tears streaming down her cheeks as she watches. Sophia stands nearby too, her eyes fixed on her father and her sister with something in them that's hard to read. That night, after the household has fallen asleep, Vincent is woken by soft sobbing from the children's room. He gets up to check and finds Sophia curled in the corner of the bed, arms wrapped around her knees, tears falling in silence. He steps in gently, not wanting to startle her. "Did you have a nightmare?" Vincent asks softly, sitting down beside the bed. Sophia nods, still not speaking. She isn't used to sharing her pain with anyone. She spent too long having to be strong alone. "Do you want to tell Dad about it?" Vincent asks. "If you don't, that's okay too. I just want you to know I'm here." The silence stretches for a moment. Then Sophia finally speaks, her voice so small it's almost a whisper. "I dreamed about Marcus. I dreamed he found us and took us back. He hit Mom. He hit Olivia. He hit me. I tried to scream, but no one came." Vincent feels as if his heart is being crushed. Slowly, he shifts a little closer, letting Sophia get used to him before he reaches out. "Marcus is in prison," he says gently. "He will never be able to touch you, or Olivia, or your mom again. I promise you." Sophia looks at him through tears. "You'll really protect us. You won't leave us like Marcus said our real dad did." Pain slices through Vincent at that question. "What did he tell you?" "He said our real dad didn't want us," Sophia whispers, her voice shaking. "He said Dad left Mom and left us because we were a burden." Vincent pulls Sophia into his arms, and this time she doesn't resist. "That was a lie," he says, his voice breaking. "I never knew you existed. If I had known, I would have come for you immediately. You aren't a burden. You're the greatest gift I've ever been given." Sophia cries in Vincent's arms, and this time she truly cries. No holding back, no forcing herself to be brave. She cries for the 7 years behind her, for the pain she endured, for the lies she believed, and for the love she has finally found. The next evening, at family dinner, everyone is talking and laughing when Lucas suddenly speaks up. "Mom, can I have more vegetables?" he says naturally, then stops short as he realizes what he just said. He looks at Scarlett with worried eyes. "I mean, Miss Scarlett, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." Scarlett smiles, tears shining. "You can call me Mom," she says gently. "It makes me happy when you do." Lucas beams, and the whole dining room seems to brighten. Sophia and Olivia look at each other, then look at Vincent, and in the girls' eyes, the last of their guarded caution finally fades, replaced by acceptance and love. They aren't 5 strangers living under one roof anymore. They have become a real family. In the days that follow, Vincent and Scarlett slowly find their rhythm again. They're no longer awkward around each other. In its place is the ease and natural comfort of 2 people who once loved each other deeply. Every morning, they prepare breakfast for the children together. Every evening, they read stories and soothe them to sleep. The accidental brush of hands when they pass something to each other, the stolen glances when they think the other isn't watching, the shared smiles when the children do something sweet. All of it becomes small pieces, quietly rebuilding the love they thought they had lost. One night, after the children have fallen fast asleep, Vincent goes out to the balcony and sits alone, as he often does. The lights of Chicago blink in the distance. The night air is cool, but gentle. He's lost in thought with a drink in his hand when he hears soft footsteps behind him. Scarlett steps out, wrapped in a thin sweater, auburn hair spilling over her shoulders. She's recovered a lot in recent weeks, her cheeks carrying a touch of color again, her eyes brighter. "Can't sleep?" Vincent asks, shifting over to make room for her on the lounge chair. Scarlett sits beside him, leaving a small space, yet close enough that they can feel each other's warmth. "I don't sleep well," she says softly. "For 7 years, I got used to not sleeping. Always worried, always afraid. Now everything is safe, and I still don't know how to get used to it." Vincent is quiet for a moment, then sets his glass down. "Me too. After you disappeared, I didn't sleep for months. I kept thinking, why did you leave? What did I do wrong? Was I so unbearable you couldn't even say goodbye?" Scarlett turns to him, her eyes shining in the dim light. "I'm sorry," she whispers. "I'm sorry I hurt you. If I'd known your mother blocked everything, if I'd known you never got my messages, I would have found another way. I wouldn't have given up that easily." "Don't apologize anymore," Vincent says, his voice gentle. "None of this was your fault. It was my mother's, and in some ways it was mine too, because I wasn't stubborn enough to come find you." They sit in silence, looking out at the city night. The space between them on the chair slowly shrinks, as if some invisible force is drawing them closer. "Did you ever think about us?" Vincent asks, his voice quieter. "All those 7 years." "Every day," Scarlett answers without hesitation. "Every time I looked into Sophia and Olivia's eyes, I saw you. They have your eyes. You know that? I never forgot you, even when I tried." Vincent turns to her, and for the first time in 7 years, he allows himself to truly look at her. Not with guilt or regret, but with the pure love he tried to bury. "I still love you," he says, his voice steady and clear. "I never stopped loving you." Scarlett doesn't speak. She only looks at him as tears slip down her cheeks. Then she leans forward, and Vincent meets her halfway. Their kiss is soft and sweet, carrying 7 years of longing, 7 years of waiting, 7 years of love left unspoken. Scarlett's lips are still as gentle as he remembers, still able to make his heart race the way it did the first time he kissed her. When they pull apart, Scarlett smiles through her tears. "I still love you too," she says. "I never stopped." Vincent draws her into his arms, holding her tight as if he will never let go again. And on the mansion balcony in the cold Chicago night, 2 hearts that were once torn apart finally find their way back to each other. 6 months have passed since that first kiss on the balcony that night. 6 months of rebuilding love from the beginning, of a family growing closer, of wounds slowly healing and smiles coming more often. Vincent and Scarlett are officially a couple now, no longer hiding their feelings in front of the children or anyone else. Sophia, Olivia, and Lucas are all thrilled to see their mom and dad happy together. Life in the Moretti mansion is now filled with laughter and warmth that no one would have dared to dream of before. Vincent has been quietly preparing for this moment for the past 2 months. He contacted the restaurant where he and Scarlett first met 8 years ago. The restaurant is still open, still holding the same cozy, romantic style it had back then. Scarlett used to work there as a server when she was a student, and Vincent came in one night during a business dinner with a partner. He still remembers the exact moment he saw her for the first time. Her auburn hair neatly tied back, her bright smile as she greeted customers, and the warm brown eyes that made his heart stumble from that very second. Vincent shares his plan with the children ahead of time because he wants them to be part of this important moment. When he tells Sophia, Olivia, and Lucas that he's going to propose to their mother, all 3 children bounce with happiness. "Really, Dad?" Sophia asks, her eyes glowing. "You're going to marry Mom and we'll be a real family forever." "We're already a real family," Vincent answers with a smile. "But I want to make it official. I want your mom to know I'll be with her and with you forever." Lucas cheers and runs in circles around the room. "I'll keep it a secret. I promise I won't tell Mom, even though I really want to, but I won't tell." Olivia hugs her father tight, her voice thick with tears. I'm so happy, Dad. I never thought we'd have a complete family like this. On that special evening, Vincent takes Scarlett to the restaurant without telling her why. He only says he wants to take her out to dinner, to celebrate 6 months since they officially became a couple. Scarlett wears a simple but elegant red dress, auburn hair falling softly over her shoulders, radiant the way she was the first time Vincent met her. When they step inside the restaurant, Scarlett stops, her eyes widening as she recognizes the place. "This is the restaurant where we met," she whispers, her voice full of emotion. "You still remember," Vincent replies, taking her hand and leading her inside. They're brought to a private table in the corner, the same spot where Vincent sat 8 years ago when he first saw Scarlett. Dinner unfolds in a warm, romantic glow. They talk about the past, the present, the future. They laugh as they remember old moments, and they hold hands when they speak about the plans ahead. When dessert is brought out, Vincent stands. Scarlett looks at him in surprise, not understanding what's happening. Then he drops to one knee beside her, and Scarlett bursts into tears the instant she realizes. Vincent pulls a small red velvet box from his pocket and opens it, revealing a sparkling diamond ring. "Scarlett," he begins, his voice trembling slightly with emotion. "8 years ago, I met you in this place, and I loved you from the first time I saw you. 7 years ago, I lost you, and I thought I'd never see you again. But fate gave us a second chance, brought you and the children back to me. I don't want to waste a single day anymore. I want you to be my wife, the woman I'll spend my life loving and protecting. Scarlett Vanessa Hayes, will you marry me?" Scarlett cries and nods, unable to speak at first. "Yes," she finally manages. "Yes, I will. I will marry you." Vincent slides the ring onto her finger, then stands and kisses her as the other diners around them applaud. And right then, the restaurant door opens, and Sophia, Olivia, and Lucas come running in with Mrs. Rosa. "She said yes," Lucas shouts. "I knew she would." The children race over and throw their arms around their parents, and the whole family stands there in the middle of the restaurant, holding each other through happy tears. The diners around them clap and congratulate them, and Vincent looks at the woman in his arms, looks at the children clinging to them, and he knows that this is the happiest moment of his life. The wedding takes place 2 months after the proposal, on a late spring day when cherry blossoms are in full bloom all across Chicago. It isn't the lavish spectacle people would imagine for the most powerful mafia boss in the city. Instead, Vincent and Scarlett choose a small, intimate ceremony with only their closest people. They hold it in the garden behind the mansion, the place where the children still play every afternoon. Rows of white chairs sit neatly on the green lawn. Fresh flowers line the aisle, and a small arch covered in white roses stands at the end of the path that leads to happiness. Lucas is the ring bearer. He wears a crisp black suit and walks with solemn dignity like a true little gentleman, even though he can't completely hide his wide grin. Sophia and Olivia are the flower girls, dressed in full white dresses, their hair braided neatly and pinned with tiny blossoms. They walk down the red carpet, scattering rose petals, their eyes bright with joy. Then Scarlett appears. She wears a simple but elegant wedding dress, her auburn hair falling softly, a bouquet of white roses in her hands. As she walks down the aisle, the children have strewn with petals. Every gaze turns toward her. But Scarlett sees only one person, Vincent, waiting under the flower arch in his black suit, his blue-gray eyes shimmering with emotion. When Scarlett reaches him, Vincent takes her hand, and they turn to each other to speak their vows. Vincent speaks first, his voice low, warm, and steady. "Scarlett, 8 years ago, I loved you from the first moment I saw you. 7 years ago, I lost you, and thought I would never be happy again. But then, on a freezing winter night, I found 2 children shivering behind a trash bin, and they led me back to you. You gave me the most precious gift, 2 wonderful daughters, and the chance to love you again. I promise I'll spend my life loving you, protecting you, and being worthy of the love you give me." Scarlett cries as she listens to Vincent's vow, but she still speaks her own, her voice trembling yet filled with resolve. "Vincent, 7 years ago I left you with a broken heart, believing you didn't want me or our children. I fought alone, I fell alone, and I thought I would be lonely forever. But you found our daughters when I couldn't protect them. You loved them before you even knew they were yours. You saved me when I thought I had lost everything. You are my home, the safe harbor I've searched for my whole life. I promise I'll love you. I'll stand beside you, and I'll build this family with you until my last breath." When they exchange rings and seal the union with a kiss, The children run forward and wrap their arms around their parents. Applause rises, laughter blends with happy tears, and under the warm spring afternoon sun, the family of 5 stands together, whole at last. After the ceremony, they take a family photo. Vincent and Scarlett stand in the middle, Lucas between them, and Sophia and Olivia on either side. All 5 of them are smiling brightly, the smile of people who walked through darkness and finally found light. That photo is placed in the most honored spot in the mansion's living room, a reminder of the journey they survived and the happiness they found. That night, after the children fall asleep from an emotional, exhausting day, Vincent stands on the balcony looking out at the city of Chicago. Scarlett comes to him and rests her head on her husband's shoulder. "I remember that winter night," Vincent says softly. "I was only checking on a warehouse and I thought life would keep going the way it always had. I never imagined that night would change everything." Scarlett smiles and takes his hand. "Sometimes miracles show up when we least expect them. And sometimes it's in our darkest nights that we find the light of our lives." Vincent kisses his wife's forehead and holds her close. He thinks of the road they traveled, from the days of fierce young love, through 7 years of painful distance, to the moment he found 2 children trembling in the winter night, and finally to now, when they stand together as a complete family. He used to be a cold Mafia boss who believed he didn't need anyone, but his 2 little daughters taught him that real strength isn't in power or money, it's in love, and in the bond with the people you cherish. This story teaches us that family isn't only the people who share your blood, it's the people who choose to love you, choose to stay with you through every hardship. It reminds us that no matter how painful the past is, the future can still be bright if we don't give up hope. And most importantly, it shows us that sometimes, in our darkest nights, miracles appear. If this story touched your heart, please give us a like and share this video with the people you love. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you don't miss meaningful stories every day. We'd truly love to know how you felt about this story. Did it remind you of someone in real life? Do you believe in unexpected miracles? Share your feelings in the comments below. We always want to listen to what's deepest in your heart. Wishing everyone watching this video good health, a joyful life, and days filled with love. Thank you for being with us. Goodbye, and see you in the next video.